Yeah, we're going to start in north central Kenya at a place called Samburu and work our way south to the southern Serengeti. Samburu is a very dry place. Life's tough for the animals, but there's enough vegetation and trees there so the baboons are prolific. And the babies are always entertained. I can spend hours and hours with these little guys and never get bored. There's also a subspecies of giraffe in Samburu, which I think is the most beautiful of all the African giraffes. It's called the reticulated. And you can see the tile-like pattern here, and you can see it's almost desert in the background, and the little goober peering around from mother's haunches there. And then we moved down to the Masai Mara in southwestern Kenya, and which, in my opinion, is the absolute best place in the world to see big cats if you're into that sort of thing. And this photograph here just captures the bond, I think, between the mother and the youngster. And this was a huge pride, maybe 20 lions, but again, lions, especially lion cubs, are really special. I made 7 trips to Africa before I saw my first baby cheetah. Then I saw them 4 times in a row. And went again in September. We didn't see a single one, did we? But anyway, this was a brood of 6, half a dozen, which is extremely rare. Usually you see 3, maybe 4. But they were all very healthy, and they entertained me. They climbed a tree. They ran into the vehicle, and I took an awful lot of photos of them. I included this picture to illustrate a point, which is the ugliest and gnarliest adult animal you can imagine, in my opinion, which is the hyena. Can have cute babies. So this is the one photograph I included that I took just a few weeks ago on our trip in September. So we got one looking at us and one looking suspicious in the background. This is a topi, which is one of East Africa's most colorful antelopes, in my opinion. And I love the babies because they're such aggressive eaters. They remind me of me. When they go after the nipple on mom, a lot of times they almost lift those back 2 legs up off the ground. It's an awesome thing to see. Good appetites. Now we're going down to Amboseli, which is in the very southern part of Kenya in the shadow of Mount Kilimanjaro. And this is a baby elephant, probably less than a week old. The ground down there is really uneven. The poor little thing had a hard time getting across the ground, but the mother and the aunts were there to help all along the way. Little fuzz on top there. This is also from Amboseli. Took this photograph about 4 years ago. I already had my gear packed up. I was on the way to Nairobi to go home, get on the airplane and head this way. And this little zebra ran up to our vehicles. I had to break it all out again. Probably took 150 photographs. This is about my favorite. We got mother in the background. I took this photograph also at Amboseli. This was in the middle of a terrible drought, and it was really rough on all the animals with hooves, like the wildebeest and the zebra. It was really, really tough for them. But that was actually good for the lions, and you can see mother's belly there. She's pretty full. And these are formidable mothers, and even as vulnerable and as innocent as that little cub looks, believe me, that baby's well protected. I put this picture on my Facebook page a while back, and a lady from South Africa gave me the most wonderful compliment. She said, "This is such a lovely, happy picture." She said, "I wish all elephants could live like this." Unfortunately, they can't because the poaching is majorly on the rise down there in southern Kenya. But I do like the action of this. Okay, now we're crossing the border into Tanzania. This is the Ngorongoro crater. Down in the crater floor, there's one forested area, and that's where the baboons live. This youngster here, sometimes they just sit on a dead tree and they can entertain and be photogenic. They don't have to fight and do all the things that baboons are usually expected to do. They say that animals do not think, they do not have emotions. I disagree with that completely. You know, a lot of times when I look at these guys, I think they're smiling. I believe this one here on the right is smiling. You think? And we're going to stay in the crater here for the next couple of shots. This is a tribute to my guide. There was a brown spot about a quarter of a mile away, obviously a hyena. I'll usually drive right on by those. And my guide said, "Babe, she has a baby." So we waited, and about 20 minutes later, the thing finally made it over close to us, and sure enough, as you can see, she had a little goober in her mouth there. How do you like those paws? Speaking of mouth, this is something I have not seen before. This is obviously, it's a show of affection between a baby Thompson gazelle and the mother. I just think these are very, very beautiful little animals, and the cheetahs especially seem to like them. No further discussion on that point. These lion cubs also in the Ngorongoro crater. These two are really worried. I think you can probably detect in this photo. They're watching their mothers leave them behind in the tall grass as they go off to hunt wildebeest. You can see the worry on the faces there. So they watched the mother so they couldn't see him anymore, and then they eased off into this tall grass and disappeared. This is one of the more, I should say actually less common monkey species in Africa. This was taken at Lake Manyara, again a little farther south, that's our direction, in Ngorongoro Crater. This is a blue monkey, and it's a very simple picture that shows the baby having a very, very hearty breakfast. Everybody has a bad day. This is a lion cub and due to part of a very, very large pride in the month of February when the wildebeest migration is in the area and the lions have an awful lot of food to eat. This one was very well fed, as was the whole pride, but maybe sisters and brothers have been a little rough in their play. They do that sometimes when some seem to be in a foul mood. Not every story is a happy story. This is an orphan. She had been looking for any adult zebra to adopt her and had no luck because zebras don't do that. And so this was, to me, her last desperate act. She pulled up to this tree and actually appeared to start trying to nurse. I don't know how this came out, but it probably was not good. The absolute most photogenic animals in all of Africa, in my opinion, are baby cheetahs. And this photograph was taken in February. There were 4 little ones, and I got 75% of the crowd here, and mother was asleep under an acacia bush, and they posed and interacted for a couple of hours, and I probably took 2,000 photographs. This is one of my new favorite pictures. I took this not long ago. This is also in Dodson down in the southern Serengeti, and this again shows the affection between mother and baby lion. This photo was Winland Smith Rice Photo Competition, Smithsonian Institution, Nature's Best Photography. Highly honored just a couple of weeks ago, and it's probably going to hang in the Smithsonian for most of next year. And